Hello, today we're just making a nice and quick and easy, simple spaghetti bolognese. I make this one quite often. If I want a more intense one and a more rich flavour one, of course, I'll actually let it simmer for a lot longer than I did this time. First of all, I usually just start by getting my pot of water on to boil for the pasta. And I usually add some salt and a dob of butter. So now I just put the mince on so I can start browning that. So that starts browning in the background while I'm getting everything else chopped up, ready to go in. I chopped up an onion and some garlic. Doesn't matter how much you want to put in there, it's up to your personal choice. I change it every day. Sometimes it's one onion, sometimes it's two. I add a couple of cloves of garlic. When I say a couple, I've probably done about 4 or 5. Now, as I've mentioned before, we try and grow nearly a whole year's worth of garlic. It doesn't always end up that way, depends on the season and the crops and how they've worked out. But we end up with, a huge abundance of garlic. This last season, they all starting to shoot and go bad and starting to rot. So what I did to actually preserve them a bit longer was I broke them up from the bulb. I didn't peel them, but I put them all in a Clip-Lop bag and threw them in the freezer. Now, this makes peeling your garlic so much easier. It does have like a slightish brown colour to it when you peel it, but it's perfectly fine and it's just as tasty as fresh garlic. It's amazing, but it also stops the big hassle of trying to rather dry it out or, peel it in advance and throw it in the freezer. It's amazing. So once that's all chopped up, I throw it in with the mince because the mince, as you can see, is already starting to brown. There's probably still a few little pink bits in there, but it's okay. We want to start infusing the flavour with the garlic and onion through that before we add any liquid or anything like that. Plus, I like to drain off the fat before I add that, otherwise I'll lose a lot of onion and garlic. Here I'm just sprinkling in some mixed herbs, and once again, it's up to your preference with taste of how much you put in. Now, when I cook like long spaghetti pasta, I tend to break it in half when I'm putting it in to boil. It's just easier on young children or elderly people that live in the home. Now I'm adding a bottle of our homemade passata, which looks a little thinner, and that's okay. But I also bought a bottle of passata because that was our last bottle of the homemade one. I do need to make some more. I've still got some tomatoes in the freezer from last season. So I just let it simmer just for a little bit, and then I add my favourite vegetable stock, which is Vegeta. This is the brand I prefer to use. I also add just a little spoonful of brown sugar to make it a bit sweeter and richer. Now I'm adding my homemade tomato powder, which acts the same as adding tomato paste. It actually helps thicken it up and it gives it an amazing flavour. Now, I've made this last year and I've made it this year. When I make things like the passata, when you remove all your pulp and run it through a mulli, all the skins and seeds and everything I dehydrate, and then once it's all dried out, you blend it up and you turn it into a powder. Now that powder is gold to me. I absolutely love it. A lot of people swear by it too. Here I am straining off my pasta. So that's how quick it was to make. It really only took about 9 minutes or so, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. By the time the water was boiled, probably 15. So it really didn't take long to make at all. But as I said, if I was making it the traditional way, I would have allowed it to simmer for quite a few hours. But when I was doing this, I forgot to heat this up. So we had to zap it in the microwave. It was cold. And now for the finishing touch. It's all dished up, so we just sprinkle some parmesan on the top. I keep my parmesan cheese in the freezer because I have it in bulk, which makes it, helps it store for a lot longer. And here we have a nice, quick and easy, yummy spaghetti bowl. There, of course, was some leftovers, which Bonnie took some to work the next day. I had some for Eddie to try, and I think one for the freezer.